All right, I'm super excited to announce that my portfolio tracking spreadsheet that most of you are probably all familiar with is finally available for you all to use and access. Since this spreadsheet is based off of Google Sheets, it will likely not work with Excel or Apple numbers, so the only requirement for using this spreadsheet is a Gmail account, which is entirely free to make if you do not already have one. And I highly recommend watching this video in full because there are a few key things to watch out for while setting up your portfolio on this spreadsheet. And in order to not break the spreadsheet, it is very important that you watch this video in entirety. If you do find yourself using this spreadsheet and enjoying my content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers as fast as humanly possible. And be sure to leave a like for that YouTube algorithm. Let's aim for 50 likes on this video. I think that's a fair trade for making this spreadsheet absolutely free for you all to use. All right, so let's get started here, everyone. The very first thing you're going to want to do is click the top link in the description of this video. That will redirect you to this Drive folder that you're seeing on screen now, where there will be a handful of files to choose from. If it does not look like this, it may look like this, but either way, you will see a handful of files here. The number represented in the middle of the name is how many account types this spreadsheet supports. So for example, just add up how many account types you have, like your TFSA would be 1, RRSP would be 2, FHSA would be 3, and so on. And based on what number you get for how many accounts you have, you will select one of these files. For example, if you currently have 5 accounts and you plan on adding a couple in the future, it might be smart for you to go for like a 7 or 8 file here, just so you have space for the future. Like if you don't currently have an FHSA or RRSP and you know you're going to have one eventually, it's not a bad idea to open or make a copy of one of these files that supports a larger amount of accounts here. For example's sake today, I'm going to select the 9 account spreadsheet by double clicking into it, and it will open the spreadsheet here. And then I'm going to come up to the top corner and hit File, make a copy, and I'm going to just name it whatever you guys want. I'm just going to keep the name the exact same here. And then for the folder, it's very important that you select this and then head over to All Locations and just select your drive and then hit Make a Copy. Once you make a copy, it is going to open it up automatically here for you. But if this does not pop up automatically, for example, you can just go to Google and search Google Drive, and then it's probably the top one here, and then you hit Go to Drive, and then you should see the file of what you just copied, and you'll just want to double click into that, and it'll open the spreadsheet perfectly for you. Something that's key to remember about making a copy to your drive is that this is only accessible by you, and only you will be able to see this, so don't worry about anyone seeing your finances. Okay, so we got our spreadsheet copied, and it's open now. The first page that you're going to open up to is the dashboard here, and this is the entire portfolio snapshot right here. And then as we scroll down right here, these are all the individual accounts. As you can see, I'm going to be scrolling for a minute here because I selected the 9 account type file, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about anything on the dashboard for right now. This is probably going to seem really overwhelming at first. First thing we're going to want to do is head down to the bottom here and head over to our data tab. This is where all the charting information lives that you just saw on the dashboard. And also this is where we are going to name all of our accounts. Feel free to name the accounts whatever you would like in whatever order you would like. I'm just going to do what is best for me here. So I'm going to make account 1, for example's sake, a TFSA. And then when we come to our second one here, I'm going to make this one my FHSA. Third one, I'll do RRSP. The fourth one, I'll do a non-registered account. The fifth, I will do a cryptocurrency account. And the sixth one, I'm going to do a savings account. And as for 7, 8, and 9, I'm just going to pretend like I'm going to open more accounts in the future. So I'm just going to keep these ones as blank ones to future-proof the spreadsheet. So I'm just going to name them Future Account 1. And I'm just going to copy that. Whoops. I'm going to copy that. Paste that. Future Account 2. And we'll do the same thing here for Future Account 3. Depending when you see this video and use this spreadsheet, you may want to alter the time frame for the tracking here on the left side. So I have this spreadsheet starting for January 2024, And for example, say you don't see this video until May 2024, you're going to want to go into each one of these and change what they are. So we'll go May, June, July, and so on and so forth, depending on when you start using this spreadsheet and what works best for you. As for the actual data that's in here, we're going to revisit this at a later time, so don't worry about any of this for right now. Okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes here. We're going to add some holdings into our new accounts now. Now that we've renamed them at the top, you're going to notice when we go over to our holdings tab, the name of the account at the top has, of course, been transferred over. So account 1's the TFSA, 2 is the FHSA, RRSP, non-registered, crypto savings, future account 1, future account 2, future account 3. If you know that right now you have future accounts that have nothing in them, go ahead and change the cash/totals amount right here in initial value to 0. This will just make sure that there is nothing in the account. Don't worry about the error here. It will do absolutely nothing. So I'm just going to enter 0 for all of these for the time being. And scrolling up back to the top here, you're going to notice I've already added some example holdings into the account. I'm going to just delete all of them. But right now, you guys can just go ahead and highlight all this and then hit delete on your keyboard. And now you're going to notice we have a pretty blank slate here. And this is how we're going to add holdings, everyone. So for example's sake, I'm going to say that my very first holding in here is going to be XEQT. Now, I know what XEQT is. It's a Canadian ETF. So I want to make sure that this is selected here, Canadian ETF, under the type column. It is very important that you label these correctly because depending on which one you click, it's going to alter the calculations for the other columns over here. So I already know that this is a Canadian ETF, so I'm just going to select that. And then if you need to rename it, you can go ahead and rename it to whatever you want here. I'm just going to use whatever default name that they use. And then there's really only a few other things we need to edit for each holding. You don't have to worry about the price. This is automatically updated for you pretty much real time. Sometimes it takes a little while to update, but it's usually pretty good. But we will need to update how many shares we have, and this can be found on the investing/trading app or sites that you use. So in my case, I use Wealthsimple, and you can just go down to your holdings within your trade accounts and find this. So for example's sake, I'm going to pretend like I have 10 shares of XEQT, and you'll see here, this is going to completely change. All the numbers over here are all going to completely change depending on how many shares I own. And then the average cost can also be found within each holding that you have in your trading app. I'm going to try and pop up images to go along with what I'm saying here to help not make this as confusing. But for example's sake, I'm going to say that I paid $25 per share of XEQT. And we can see when I change this average cost here, it's going to change my return on the right side here. So we'll go back to 20 and we'll see we have a 40% return. We go back to 25, that drops to 13. So as we're buying shares, our average cost is likely changing. So say that right now you added this in and you bought more in the future, you will need to come back here and you will need to update this to reflect how many more shares you have and if the average cost has changed. You don't have to worry about anything for the yield or the annual yield. This is automatically calculated. Everything over here essentially is automatically calculated for you. You only have to worry about what's in here, and what's in here. Something that I forgot to mention is you do not want to change the cash/totals row on any of the accounts. You want to keep them. The only thing you'll ever change in these is the initial value of how much cash is in the account. So let's go back up to my TFSA here. I'm going to pop up another screenshot of like what it looks like when there is cash inside of the account. This is money that can be used for buying power. So let's just, for example's sake, say I have $354 ready to trade. This is where I would enter it here in this column that I have $354 ready to trade. And that'll, of course, add it on to the account total. All right, now what if we want to add more holdings other than XEQT? Well, what we want to do is we want to select the row over here. We're going to copy it, come down to the next row, and paste it in. And there you go. You just added another holding, but of course, you're going to want to switch what it is. So let's just say we have Apple here, a US stock. So I'm going to type in the ticker symbol for Apple. Everything's going to update here. Oh, but wait, we have an error. That's because we have to select the type, US stock, and now we will notice it fixes itself. And of course, we probably don't have 10 shares of Apple at $25. So let's just say I go into my app and I have 2 shares of Apple. and they're at an average cost of $175. We'll go ahead and enter that in, and boom, we've got 2 holdings now. And I forgot to mention, you'll just have to change the name over here on the left. So we'll come in here and I'll just type in Apple. This is pretty rinse and repeat, so feel free to add in as many holdings that you want here. Be sure to type in the accurate amount of shares and the proper average cost, and be sure to name it. And as always, make sure that the type is correct. For example's sake, let's say that we do not have any more holdings in our TFSA. We can go ahead and delete any of these empty rows by selecting them all, clicking the top, holding shift, and clicking the bottom one that we do not need. It's important that we keep the black bars, but we go ahead and delete these. And there you go. There's our TFSA with only XEQT and Apple. But wait, let's say that tomorrow I plan on buying NVIDIA, or say today that I bought NVIDIA. I can come back up here, right click, insert a row above or below, and then I'm going to copy one of the holdings, paste it in right where I added the new row, and we'll change the ticker symbol over to NVIDIA. It's already a US stock. We'll change the name, NVIDIA. And there you go. You just added a new position. And now, of course, we probably don't have the exact same amount of shares and the exact same average cost. So we'll come over here and alter these as we see fit. It is very important that we do not select a row from another account and slide it into another. This will potentially break some of the formulas. So if we do need to add a row, if we do need to add a row, we need to make sure that we are selecting within and inserting within these black bars. The same goes for adding into another account here. So let's say my FHSA, I have more XEQT. I will just copy XEQT and we'll make sure to paste it over here into our FHSA. And there we go. To keep things really easy for this video, I'm just going to paste XEQT on into all of these accounts, stock accounts here. Sometimes you might notice that it'll paste things in and it might look a little different. You'll notice the alignment is aligning to the bottom of the row. You sometimes have to come up here and click align and align it to middle. I don't know why it does that. It just breaks sometimes like that. But for example's sake, I'm going to make sure all my stock accounts here are only holding XEQT. So I'm going to just go ahead and delete all of the empty rows that I am not using. Delete rows, and we'll make sure to change the amount of money we have in each account. We'll just enter some random numbers for each of these. And there we go. Now, what if we want to add cryptocurrency? Well, this is basically the same. We're going to grab one of our holdings, copy it, paste it in, and we're going to say we have Bitcoin in here. So we'll change it to Bitcoin. You'll get some errors. You have to change the type over to crypto, and then this should update properly here. The alignment came a little bit out right there. Not sure why, so we'll just fix that really quick. It might do this for you. If you don't mind, then you don't have to fix it, but sometimes you'll notice like things become unaligned. I'm sure you all know how to align things. It's not that hard. But anyways, we probably don't have 10 Bitcoin. We probably have like 0.1 Bitcoin. And this is all in Canadian dollars as well for cryptocurrency. And let's say our average cost for our Bitcoin was 45,000. And there you go. And say we also have Ethereum. Let's add Ethereum in. We'll come in here. We'll copy our Bitcoin, add Ethereum. We have one Ethereum, and say we paid to a 2,500 average. And then we only have Bitcoin and Ethereum, so we'll just delete all of these empty rows. And there you go, a crypto account is set up here on the spreadsheet. All right, so what about savings or GICs? This one can be a little bit different, but of course, just like anything else, we're going to copy one of our pre-existing account holdings. We'll paste it in here at the top, and we're going to change this over to cash, and we will just call it cash. And you're going to be prompted over here with enter value and enter value when you change this to a cash position. So the initial value, this is going to be your initial investment. So let's just say, for example's sake, I have a savings account and I know that I have $1,000 in it. I will enter $1,000 in this column. And then over on this one, this is going to automatically match what's on the left here. This is going to be what the account value is currently. So let's just say this might be 1,000. Like if you just open your savings account, this is probably going to still be 1,000. But say you're a couple months into your savings account, you've earned a little bit of interest. This might be 1,050, for example's sake. That's going to change. So you're going to have to automatically enter in this amount for the initial investment. And what the current value of any of your savings accounts or GICs are. And for the yield, you're going to automatically enter this in as well. In my cash account on Wealthsimple, I'm getting 5.0% interest. So I will enter 5.0%. And then you probably don't have cash and cash in your account. So we will just make this 0 in this instance. And there we go. We have a savings account now with $1,050 in it with an initial amount of 1,000. So we can go ahead and delete all these other columns. And that in a nutshell is how to set up a GIC or cash account. Of course, you will have to name this whatever you want. So I'll just say cash 5% in this instance. And I just kind of realized that I flew by adding in all these holdings over here because I'm trying not to make this video too long. But you will want to rename all of the companies in here. So I would just call this Bitcoin. We'll call this Ethereum. And anything else that I missed? XEQT. Nope, they were all XEQT. As for the future accounts, you can just leave these as is if you want to keep them with, like, I don't know, if you want to just delete 9 of these rows here just to have one row ready to go in each of these accounts for the future, you can go ahead and do so just to clean things up a little bit. And there we go. So say I entered in all that value, all those values, and this is what my portfolio is looking like. When we now head over to our dashboard, all of this info will have now carried over here. We can see my total portfolio is calculating up to $13,000. And as I scroll down here, you can see all these pie charts and all these totals at the top and all these account dividend yields for each individual account and how much dividends we get in each account. All of this stuff is automatically updated for us, except for the bar charts here on the left. And of course, the future accounts here, these have no data in them. So these are just not going to have anything in them regardless. So don't even worry about these until you enter information. So the next thing that we're going to want to do is on this dashboard here, enter the total account deposit amounts that we have for each individual account. Don't worry about the total. This calculates all the ones below. So we'll start out here with the first account. So within your trading or investing app, you will be able to go somewhere into your account and see how much your net deposits are for that account. I'm going to play like a little video here showing how to do it on Wealthsimple. So essentially, you're going to want to go into each account and then enter in what we have there. So I'm going to say, for example's sake, that my initial deposits for my TFSA was $1,600. So when I enter that in, you're going to notice the performance changes for the account versus that. Like obviously, if we had $200 deposited in the account's worth $2,000, that's a pretty big return. So we're going to want to make sure that's updated correctly to get a proper return amount. And we'll say for the FHSA, my initial investment was $500. We'll say for the RRSP, the initial was $400. We'll say for this one, the initial was $400. And the crypto account, what do we say? Let's say $8,000 for that one. And we already know that the initial investment for the savings account here was $1,000 because we entered that in on the column right here. So for our initial value in the cash, it was already $1,000. So we can copy that one over in this example. And for the ones down here, the future accounts, these will be 0 because there is nothing in them. And there we go. Once we go back up to the top now, we should have a accurate total deposit amount with a accurate return amount of 10% and a accurate total return. And boom, just like that, we're pretty much almost all done. We just had to set up the bar charts now. So in order to get the bar charts sorted, we're going to loop back over to the data tab over here. And if you're just starting on the first one, we can go ahead and absolutely delete this one. And just for example's sake, I'm going to go back to dashboard here. You'll notice it's completely erased the second bar on all of these charts now. So let's just say we're starting, it's January 1st today. So it's not actually, but for example's sake, I'm going to say that today is January 1st. So when we come to our data tab here, what I like to do on my personal one is every first of the month at between like 5 p.m. and like 9 p.m. at night, I will come into my data here and I will enter in what all the accounts are worth and how much the total deposits were for the account on the first of every month. So as I said, I'm going to pretend today's January 1st and we'll come back to our dashboard and we're going to come down to our TFSA. And I know that my account deposits is totaled at $1,600. So we're going to go back over to our data here and enter 1,600 for deposits. And then the balance will come back over again is 1989.81. So we'll come in here, 1981.89, I believe. 1981.89. It was 81. Let me fix that. 1981.81. So now when we come back to our dashboard, we're going to see that this value now reflects what's in the data tab. And something I forgot to mention, I'm probably going to forget a bunch of things, but as we deposit money into these accounts, it's very important that we update these. So say that today I added another $200 in, I'm going to want to make sure that's updated all the time because this will not update for you. So if we come back to our data tab, let's just say I did add $200 today. I'll come back over here and enter in 1800 because it's January 1st in this example. So yeah, you would just rinse and repeat that exact thing for each of these accounts. So a total deposit of 500 with a value of 630.40. We would enter here into our FHSA, which is the second account. Then we would go in and do the same for the third account, fourth account, fifth account, and so on. You don't have to worry about entering anything on the account totals here on the right. This automatically adds up everything on the left. Same with the balance one here. Now let's just pretend that it is now February 1st. So we would of course come in here and just start entering in all our information for February. Of course, it is not February 1st right now, but in this example it is. So when we start entering this information now, we're going to see these charts update, but you're going to notice the main one has not. For the main one, you're just going to want to copy the two on the left right here, come down to the one below on the left and paste it in. And every time that you paste this in, it's going to add some new information here. If you don't mind the red line being there, you can just keep doing this for as far down as you want. But what I like to do is I only like to add it in once I have done all these other accounts. So I'm going to just say 200, 400, 200, 400, 200, 400, 200, 400, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. These were all future accounts, so we'll just do that, 0, 0, 0. And now we should have a nice accurate growth on the bar chart and total deposit chart. I should say the total deposit chart is the red line and the account value is the green line or the green bar for all of these accounts. And of course, the future accounts here are all going to be broken because we have not entered any data in them for the time being. Okay, so what about this dividend tab here? Well, this one has like no, it affects none of the other tabs whatsoever, but this is just a nice little visual representation that I made to reflect how much dividends I've received in all my accounts. So I just added it into this spreadsheet for you guys to use as well. None of this is automatic. You have to do all of this yourself. So say in January of 2024, I received $30 in dividends in my TFSA. I would enter 30 in here and it's going to automatically add it up here to my lifetime dividends. And say in my FHSA, I received 15 in January. It's going to, of course, add it up here as well. So this is just like a place where you can manually add in how much dividends you receive to see a nice visual representation of how much dividend growth that you are having. And so like every time you get a dividend, you're going to have to come in here and add it in. So say I got another like $12 of dividends, 12 plus 30, I would add 42 in here. So now my total for January would be 42. And if you want to track your dividends further back before 2024, you can come in here and change these dates to whenever you want. So if you want to like start in 2023, you can come in here and change. I think if you actually change the top one here, we'll do 2020, it'll change all of them down below. So you can start this whenever you want. So if you've got years of dividends already built up and you want to enter on all the values for your dividends you've already received, you can go ahead and do so. But everyone, that should be everything. I believe I've covered everything in order to get you all set up with this spreadsheet. Of course, I tried to go as fast as humanly possible through this. I know this is going to be a long video. If you have made it this far and you are using this spreadsheet, a big pat on the back to you. I really appreciate it and appreciate you watching this far. And yeah, that's going to be it, everyone. Be sure to leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'll try my best to answer them. And yeah. I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm done. Thank you all again for watching. Be sure to leave a like on this video. We're going to try and hit 50 likes on this video. And if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers on the channel. And yeah, thank you all again, and I will see you next time.